The story of the Lay of the Great Fool. There were two brothers once in Erin, and one of them was a king and the other a reindeer. They were both married. On the night there was a track. That is, the knight had children, and there were no children at all to the king. It was a source of insult to the knight and his lot of sons that the king should have the realm at all. The thing that happened was that they gathered armies, both of them, on each side. On the day of the battle that they gave, the knight and his 3 sons were slain. The wife of the knight was heavy, and the king sent word that if she were to have a babe son to slay him, but that if it were a baby daughter to keep her alive and keep her. It was a lad that she had, and there was a kitchen wench within who had a love son. Breamall was her name, and Domhnall was the name of her son. When the son of the knight was born, this one fled with the 2, the knight's son and her own son. They were being fed at the cost of the knight's wife. She was there on a day, and for fear they should be hungry, she went to a town land to seek food for them. They were hungry, and she was not coming, and they saw 3 deer coming towards the bothy. The knight's son was where the other was, and he asked what creatures were there. He told him there were creatures on which there was meat and clothing. If we were the better for it, I would catch them, said he. He ran and he caught the 3 deer, and they were before his muim when she came. She flayed them, and they ate, and she made a dress for him of the deer's hides. Thus they were in a good way till the deer failed, and hunger came upon them again, and she went again to the town land. There came a great horse that belonged to the king, a wild horse, to the place where they were. He asked of Donald what beast was that. That is a beast on which sport is done. One is upon him riding him. If we were the better for him, I would catch him, said he. Thou ill-conditioned tatterdemalion, to catch that beast, it would discomfit any man in the realm to catch him. He did not bear any more chatter, but he came round about and he struck his fist on Donald and he drove his brains out. He put an oaken skewer through his ear and he hung him up against the door of the bothy. Be there thou 50 beyond the worst, said he. Then he stretched out after the horse, and the hides were trailing behind him. He caught the horse and he mounted him, and the horse that had never borne to see a man, he betook himself to the stable for fear. His father's brother had got a son by another wife. When he saw the palace, he went up with wonder to look at the palace of his father's brother. His muime never had called him anything but the great fool and croyd orm. When he perceived the son of his father's brother playing shinty, he went where he was and croyd orm, said he. Who art thou, said the king's son, of the gentles or ungentles of the realm that has the like of that speech? I am the great fool, the son of the knight's wife, the nursling of the nurse and the foster brother of Donald the nurse's son, going to do folly for myself, and if need were, it is I that could make a fool of thee also. Thou ill-conditioned tatterdemalion, make a fool of me, said the king's son. He put over the fist and he drove the brain out of him. Be there then thou 50 over worse, as is Donald the nurse's son, with an oaken skewer through his ear. He went in where the king was. Croyd orm, said he. Who art thou, said the king, of the gentles or ungentles of the realm that hast such a speech? I am the great fool, the son of the knight's wife, the nursling of the nurse and the foster brother of the nurse's son, going to make folly for myself, and if need were, it is I that could make a fool of thee also. Well then, it is not thou that made me that, but my counsellor on the day that I slew thy father, and did not slay thy mother. Then the king went with him. Every one then that he fell in with in the town, they were going with him, and that was their blessing Prudorn. There was a splendid woman in the realm, and there was a great Fachnach that had taken her away. The people thought if they could bring him to the presence of this woman, that he would set his head upon her, and that he would let the people away, that it was likely they would come between himself and the Fachnach, and that the Fachnach would kill him. That time he was an utter fool. The reason why the dalag, dogfish, is called the king's fish. What but that the king of Lochlin should come to the king of Erin to be a while along with him. The king of Lochlin and Fionn went on a day to fish, and they had a little boat, and they had no man but themselves. They spent the greatest part of the day fishing, and they did not get a thing. Then there laid a beast on the hook of Fionn, and he fell to fishing, so that he put the hook into him. He took in the fish, and what fish was it but a dogfish? The hook of the king of Lochlin was in her maw, under the hook of Fionn, and the hook of Fionn was in the outer mouth. Then the king of Lochlin fell too at taking out the dogfish, since it was his hook that was farthest down into her. They fell to arguing with each other, and Fionn would not yield a bit till they should go to law. Then they went to land with the boat, and they went to law, and the law made over the fish to Fionn, and that there should be a fine laid upon the king of Lochlin, since he had not felt the fish when first it struck him. With the rage that the king of Lochlin took, he went home to Lochlin, and he told to his muime and his oid how it had happened. The muile teach was his muime, and the smith of songs, who was married to her, was his foster father. She said that it was she who would bring out the recompense for that. Then she came till she reached Erin, and the king of Lochlin with her, and the smith of songs. The Dalag was never said after that, but the king's fish.